Question 8. Consider the graph of the function f of x equals 10 raised to the x power. So here's our graph of 10 raised to the x power. What is the range of g of x equals negative 2 fx minus 3? So first off, what is the range of the original graph? The range is the y values. So we're talking about range, we're talking about y values. We clearly see that in the answer choices. So the y values go up and down. Does this graph go up infinitely? For sure. Does it go down infinitely? No. It stops at this asymptote, stops at this barrier line. So the range is everything between 0 and infinity for this graph. That's not the answer to the question. So to answer the question, we got to think about our transformation rules. And while these are helpful to an extent, they look a little bit different than this format. So I just want to remind you the transformation rules for any general function. H and k, the h value, this shifts the graph horizontally, and this shifts the graph vertically. Really, it's only the h value that gets a little confusing. You can kind of see the k value here and the k value here kind of match up, and the a value here and the a value here in the front, they also both match up. So now what we want to do is we want to think, okay, if we have a minus 3, it shows a minus 3. So let's look over here. It's a minus 3. It's the horizontal rule. So here's the horizontal rule here in green. So if it shows a minus 3, we are shifting this graph to the right 3. This negative 2 out front matches up with the a value. If the a value is negative, then this is a reflection over the x-axis. So we're going to reflect the graph over the x-axis. And then this 2 right here stretches the graph. Now, of these 3 transformations, only one of them actually matters for the range. So if we reflect this original graph, well, first let's shift this graph to the right 3 and reflect over the x-axis at the same time. So let's just kind of take this point right here at 0, 1 and shift it to the right 3 and then reflect it over the x-axis. It becomes this point. And if we shift everything to the right 3 and reflect it over the x-axis, and the graph's going to look something like this. The stretch just makes it longer. And really, if you think about it, if you stretch this graph already is really long. So stretching it just makes it longer, faster. But it doesn't change the direction of the graph. So this ultimately is the question. What's the range of this graph? Well, the y values, it is obviously going down forever, and it is going up, but it's going up to a point. So it's not going to exceed that asymptote. It's staying lower than 0. So it's above negative infinity, but it's less than 0. So that's going to be this correct answer here. It's almost the inverse of this graph. Like the inequality symbols have just been switched. And of course, the infinity has become negative infinity since we're going down infinitely there.